Come with me while I organize this garden bed a little bit better. As you can see, I have bok choy planted here. But right here, I have turnips. That's a row of bok choy. Here, I have more bok choy. But if you look at this one right here, it is bolting. And that is not what I want from this plant. So I'm going to harvest that one along with a few other ones. Right in here, I have mustard greens. And here I also have mustard greens, but these are planted way too closely together, so I'm going to need to separate these. Along the edges here, I have some kale planted. And those I think I'm gonna leave as is, and I think I might fill in these other block holes. Like alternating every other block hole is empty, so I'll fill in those. And I also have some collard greens over on that little table that I'm gonna put in this bed as well. So the bok choy is gonna be coming out, you know, like maybe not all today, but in general the bok choy is coming out. And I will have mustard greens here in this area, collard greens here, and turnip greens there, along with the kale along the border on both sides. So let's dive in. Okay, so here I'm cutting some of the bok choy, especially this one here, because it is bolting. And that just means that it's going to flower. And after the flowers, it will send seeds, and I'll be able to like save seed from the bok choy. But if you let them all go to seed, the leaves of the bok choy will be bitter when you cook them, and that's not very palatable. So over here, just kind of carefully uprooting the mustard greens and just digging a new small hole for it and placing it in there. Now this will be better for the plant because when it does send larger roots and the leaves spread out up top, it'll have enough space to grow and get nutrients the way it needs to. And you also might notice that as I'm moving the mustard greens, I'm keeping some of the soil that was already on the roots on there, so that when it does get into this new area, it's not in so much shock and it can get acclimated to the new spot better.
Wait, what are these plants?
That's the sweet potato. These are mustard greens.
Why are you moving them around?
Because that's too close for them to grow. We need space. Otherwise, they're going to be fighting for nutrients.
Is that an earthworm?
Oh, where? Oh, yeah.
Or is it a grub?
Oh,
it's a grub.
Chicken treats.
Wait, you ready? I want to show us giving it to the...
Okay, finished up with the mustards in this area, which is more towards the center of the bed. I am going to be putting out some of my collard green plants. I started these from seed about 2 weeks ago. So now they have some of the true leaves on them. They're big enough to go out into the garden. So these are planted in a solo cup. You saw like the little blue solo cup. I've seen gardeners for years use these cups, and it made sense, but I didn't think it was something that was like that much of a difference. I actually had a side-by-side experiment or a comparison to see that these cups actually are better than pots in some cases. So I have like the really cheap little Dollar Tree orange pots that I use a lot, and I had some tomato plants in there, and the tomatoes that were in those orange pots were like half the size of the ones that I uppotted into solo cups. So I am a solo cup girl now. All right, so over here, this is the turnips. There's like quite a few seeds that kind of settled in right underneath this leaf. So I'm gonna get these up, separate them out, and plant them in new spots so that they have enough space. And then just looking at the area, anywhere you see like a clump or like an area of more than like 3 or 4 plants, you kind of like pull a few of them away and give them space so that when they do get bigger, they won't be fighting for nutrients with the other ones, or they won't grow and be like misshapen because they had like an obstacle in the way as they were growing. And if you can't keep some of the like the actual soil that was on the roots intact, it's okay. They'll be a little wilted for a day or so, but they usually bounce back pretty good. Okay, so this is what it looks like kind of cleaned up. As you can see, like this was the turnips area, and there's some space in between each of these plants. So when they get bigger, the leaves are going to get a lot bigger, and turnips actually bulb at the bottom. There'll be space under there for all the bulbs to kind of have their own space and grow nicely there. Here, in between here, I have collards. So there's a collard there. There's one again right here, one there, one there. These will have some pretty good space too, because collard leaves get really, really big. All right, so we got the turnips, we have the collards, and then over here I have the mustards. Over here I have the mustard greens. These are spaced out pretty good, and that whole row of bok choy that was there is gone, along with a couple of them that were here. So if you can imagine all the bok choy gone, I'll have three different rows of greens. I'll have my mustard greens here, collard greens in the middle, and turnip greens down there at the end. And this will be transformed into a different crop of greens. The bok choy has been really productive. We've been like cutting the outer leaves off, like I think you can see here. We were cutting the outer leaves and just using them to cook. And now that they're getting to the point where they're bolting, we're gonna go ahead and harvest these out and preserve what we can from these, along with just go ahead and making some more like bok choy heavy dishes to finish off this crop. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for some more garden stuff. I have 2 more beds here. They're gonna need some touching up in the next couple days. Bye.